I'm done. I'm out. I've been wrong on the Steelers the last 3 weeks.
Hey.
I thought they beat the Packers. They lost. I thought they'd lose to the Colts. They won. I thought they beat the Chargers. They lost. 4 straight weeks because I thought they'd beat the Bengals. And I love the quarterback demeanor.
Right.
I'm a student of the human condition.
Yeah.
The Bengals game, he looked irritated all the time, like George Costanza when he said, if you're pissed off all the time, people will think you're busy. Like, he just had that. He was mad. Last night, he seemed resigned. He seemed like he was capitulating to his circumstances, that he knows this team is not in the Super Bowl window. This team at this point is not going to make the playoffs because, and he made the comment last night, well, we're still in first place. Enjoy it while you can, buddy boy, because the Ravens chip, as this guy said.
I should have left
here
that.
Come the Ravens.
Right.
Here come the Ravens.
Right.
You're not going to be in first place when it's all said and done. This team has work to do. And, one night the offense shows up. One night the defense shows up. Sometimes neither shows up. Last night the defense looked good. The offense was awful. And he's got DK Metcalf open, misses him. Jonnu Smith for a walk-in touchdown, throws it up high, and he's got to jump up, and he couldn't even bring the catch in. He had guys open all night.
He plays nervous to me. He plays nervous. That's what he plays. It's like he's in his own brain. Like of all about, like, I don't want to make a mistake. I want to play perfect. I don't want to get hit. What do I do? I want all those things to happen while having success, and I just want to go with the great quarterbacks in football right now. They're not having those thoughts at all. And that's the problem. Did you hear what I said when we went off air on Football Night in America last night? When they were like, well, why are you taking the Chargers? I went, Pittsburgh's run game? Because, everybody was going, they're going to run the ball. I got to see it to believe it. We're all of a sudden we're just going to, oh, yeah, Pittsburgh's a great running team. Why? What have they done to say that? And then you think you're going to throw the ball? You've heard me talk about the Chargers' pass defense all year. The Chargers' pass defense, that's the best in football as far as how it's coached and all that. They might not have the best talent, but when you watch the Chargers and how they play defense on that end, man, they have the old, all their guys drop where you're trying to throw the ball. They pass everybody off perfectly. And then, I'm still not sold on the Steelers' defense. Whoop-de-doo. They had 7 shamrocks up their ass last week against the Indianapolis Colts.
I thought they'd still have a shamrock
I know, yeah. Well, they lost it on the flight over. They lost it. But, yeah, that was bad. I mean, that was really bad.
That was embarrassing.
The offense was pitiful. And then to get the ball run on you on the defensive side of the ball with it banged up, not even close to healthy Chargers offensive line. Again, I still stand here and go, did any of the D tackles ever make plays in the run game for the Pittsburgh Steelers? And then what happens there is because they have small, fast linebackers, now the linemen are getting into the second level, and you didn't hear Patrick Queen or Peyton Wilson's name the whole night last night. I mean, so because of all that, yeah, that was a bad loss. Good for the Chargers sucking it up, and Justin Herbert, who is playing awesome while he's getting killed and hit at a rate more than any quarterback in the history of football, hanging in there, and that was a good win for them last night.
Yeah, and Herbert banged around, twisted up, hit low, limping. And he's
getting 9 hits a game. Tirico explained this during the game, right? I mean, he's getting hit more than any quarterback in the history of the sport, if anybody wants to know. Justin Herbert's having a phenomenal year. His stats aren't going to warrant MVP talk, but he's really played at an MVP level to me because they haven't been able to dominate in the run game. They have to win right now with him pushing the ball down the field in the pass game with good weapons, but I don't think any of us are sitting here going, oh my gosh, double Quentin Johnson or double Ladd McConkey. Come on, everybody. So what they're doing there, he's phenomenal. And then his, of course, movement has gotten better this year. That's what's made him better. But yeah, dogfight there. And then slowly but surely, Herbert and Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator for the Chargers, started to figure out some runs that make sense for their football team. And they just slowly wore down and beat the crap out of the Steelers. And Chris Collinsworth and Tirico said it last night. They kind of beat the Steelers at their own game. That's really what they did, and it showed on the field.
DK Metcalf had 3 catches for 35 yards. That is not what you expect out of a guy to whom you paid $35 million a year. That investment is not panning out. The Rodgers experiment isn't working. The defense isn't holding up their end of the bargain.
Definitely
Mike Tomlin was testy finally. He seemed unbothered by the loss to the Packers. He seemed more upset
yesterday.
About
He was upset. I mean, when they showed his face a few times where they just ran the ball up the middle and just smashed them for 10, 15 yards, where you were like, he was looking at his defense like with weird faces. Like, are you guys serious? These are some backups on here right now, and they're pushing us around. It was ugly. I mean, Aaron Rodgers went 16 for 31, and I agree with you. Like last game, yesterday went into like almost a pointing fingers, Aaron Rodgers. He was going to yell at everybody else. And I want to go, hey, buddy, you're not playing all that good. Just stop yelling at everybody. Why you get pissed off on certain plays more than you get pissed off when you get safetied or throw an interception or miss a touchdown pass? He doesn't get mad then. But then when you see another incomplete pass and it was close, he yells and acts like the receiver ran the wrong route or did something. I mean, his body language is wrong. He's got to fix that. He's not doing himself any favors. He's not doing the Steelers any favors that way. And we're sitting here again, and they didn't help him. I get it too. But at the same time, yeah, the offense looks like it's succumbed to what Aaron Rodgers wants to a degree. And, like we've talked about all year, they just don't have another guy in the pass game that is scary. And then he's not scary on top of that because he doesn't want to push the ball down the field and he wants to play very conservative. And with that combined, that leads to 16 for 31 and 220 yards of total offense, which is just not good enough to win a football game.
Rodgers said after the game a lot of stuff wasn't working. We were bad on third down. I was just a little bit off. Missed DK early. Could have been a big play. A little high to Jonnu Smith. But, yeah, we didn't run the ball super effectively in the first half. I missed, obviously, some throws for sure. And then we weren't getting guys open, and I couldn't put it all together. And you're saying we weren't getting guys open. That's a somewhat soft way of saying guys weren't getting open.
Yeah, that simple-ass offense that they're running up there, all right, they just ain't going to get it done against some of these defenses like a Jesse Minter. Jesse Minter's going, wait, look at this. Wait, he throws a slant. He throws a back shoulder. He throws a flat route. All right, guys, hey, he can teach his guys, like, hey, there's these route combinations. There's not that many combinations. When you see this guy do that, the other guy's going to do this, so be ready for it. I mean, that's where they're just too predictable on that side of the ball. It's okay to be predictable on that side of the ball if you can smash mouth run the football and get people compromised that way. But when you can't do either one, yeah, then the passing game has to be more intricate, more detailed, more creative. And it's just not that way for them. On top of not having enough weapons at the receiver position. But, again, I don't even know if that matters. We've seen Aaron Rodgers the last few years. He's not willing to make throws and throw balls into tight windows, especially down the middle of the football field. And it's just too hard to win games when you chop, a leg off like that of your offense and where you can attack.
Yes or no, is this his last season?
Yes.
I think so, too.
Right.
There was some talk in Pittsburgh, maybe he'll come back for another year. And I've said, no. Look at the whole Brett Favre in Minnesota thing. It's never going to be as good the second year as it was the first year, and the second year may just undermine the first year. This first year isn't going to be good enough. They needed to get to the playoffs and win a playoff game to justify everything they've done. They may not get to the playoffs.
It's going to be tight. It is. The thing that saves them is it's the AFC. And Jacksonville, as we sit here right now, is the 7th seed. And you go, Jacksonville, I mean, they could lose. Who knows, right?
But the Chiefs are in the mix, too.
The Chiefs are in the mix, too. That's going to be the problem. The Chiefs are in the mix, too. Yeah, so they maybe can vie for that last spot. But yeah.
Steelers Nation, gather around, because today we are stepping into one of the most surreal, explosive, and downright unbelievable storylines of this NFL season. A report coming from the national media is now picking up legitimate traction, suggesting that the Pittsburgh Steelers, the franchise defined by stability, tradition, and loyalty, could actually become the centerpiece of a coaching trade involving none other than Mike Tomlin and the New York Giants. And before you dismiss it as another wild rumor, you need to understand exactly why this is gaining steam, why outsiders think this could happen, and why Steelers Nation should take a step back, breathe, and realize something important. This situation may end up favoring Pittsburgh more than anyone imagines. Let's set the stage. The Steelers are sitting atop the AFC North, holding the division lead even as Baltimore begins to regain their footing with key players returning from injury. The black and gold, despite their flaws, despite their inconsistencies, despite that embarrassing performance against the Chargers in Week 10, are still very much in the race. And yet here we are, talking about the potential departure of one of the most respected coaches in the league, a future Hall of Famer, a man whose identity is nearly inseparable from the Pittsburgh Steelers. What changed? Why is Mike Tomlin suddenly at the center of this firestorm? Because Steelers fans are tired of the same narrative every year, tired of non-losing seasons that lead nowhere, Tired of making the playoffs only to be bounced immediately or missing out altogether? Tired of being stuck in NFL purgatory, never bad enough to draft early, never good enough to make a serious Super Bowl run? That tension, that frustration, that hunger for something new is what opened the door for this discussion. And then along came a spark to light the gasoline. NFL senior writer Ian O'Connor, who wrote that the New York Giants would be willing to trade compensation to bring Mike Tomlin to New York. And here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just any team making noise. This is the Giants, a franchise tied to the Steelers through decades of shared history, ownership families connected through lineage, tradition, values, and league-building legacy. The Maras, the Rooneys, two families whose franchises mirror each other in structure and philosophy. The idea of doing business together isn't outrageous, it's actually logical, and that's why this rumor gained real traction. The Giants, coming off the firing of Brian Daboll, are desperate for credibility, stability, and a leader who can pull them out of the basement. According to the report, Tomlin would be their home run hire, a move that instantly resets their culture. And the fact that Tomlin is still under contract through 2027 means the only path to hiring him would be a trade that would require significant compensation. First-round picks, maybe multiple, high-end assets, draft capital for years. Exactly what a team like the Steelers, stuck in the middle, might need to hit the reset button at the perfect time. But before you panic, before you assume this is the end of an era, before you think the Steelers are about to implode, stop and look at the bigger picture. Because right now, this rumor, this possibility, gives Pittsburgh leverage. It gives Pittsburgh options. It gives Pittsburgh the power to make decisions that are best for the long-term future, not just for the next headline. Let's be honest, Mike Tomlin is undeniably a phenomenal leader. He has held this franchise together through quarterback disasters, aging rosters, massive injuries, and complete offensive rebuilds. He commands respect. Players love him. The league loves him. Analysts admire him. But the hard truth is that things have become stale. The playoff drought is real. The direction has plateaued. And Steelers fans aren't wrong to wonder if maybe, just maybe, both sides would benefit from a change. The same way Andy Reid and the Eagles broke up, only for both to rise higher afterward. Imagine the Steelers receiving premium draft picks for a head coach. Imagine being able to build a roster around Aaron Rodgers for 2026 and beyond with real resources, real capital, real flexibility. Imagine being able to bring in a fresh voice, a modern offensive mind, a coach ready to work hand in hand with a front office that clearly wants to be aggressive. Because make no mistake, Omar Khan is not a patient, passive general manager. He has tried to trade for star receivers, explored major upgrades, and shown he is willing to reshape this roster at any moment. This Tomlin situation, it doesn't represent chaos. It represents opportunity. And that's why no matter what happens, the Steelers win. If Tomlin stays, Pittsburgh keeps one of the best leaders in the game as they push for a playoff run this season. He continues working with Rodgers, with Metcalf, with a surging defense that is beginning to find its identity again. Continuity, stability, experience, Pittsburgh benefits. If Tomlin goes, the Steelers receive high-value compensation, flexibility, and the chance to bring in a coach capable of building an offense that fits today's NFL and maximizing the roster in ways the franchise hasn't seen in a decade. Steelers fans, this may be the first time in years where the future looks wide open instead of boxed in. Whether Tomlin stays or leaves, what matters most is that Pittsburgh is back in the national conversation, back in the center of NFL decision-making, back in the headlines as a team that is hungry, aggressive, and motivated to evolve. But now I want to hear from you. Do you want Mike Tomlin to stay and make a final push with Rodgers? Or you think it's time for the Steelers to trade him, collect a haul of picks, and begin a brand new era? Drop your opinion in the comments, hit that like button if you love Steelers Nation, and subscribe for more breaking updates. Here we go!